Hey there, everyone. It's Andrew Fazekas, Night Sky Guy. So great to see you out there around the world. Thanks for joining me again this week. I know I'm usually on Mondays, but I've just been like so bogged down with work uh, and really good stuff that I'll share in future posts. But lots of things going on in my end of the world, but I didn't want to miss out and share some of the things that you should be looking out for in the night sky. As usual, love to share my passion with you and share with me where you're watching from. I love to see your posts. I see folks from Portugal, Alabama, New Jersey, USA there as well. Just so great to see everyone out there. And if you're new to the show, I live stream pretty much every week. I try to, usually at the early part of the week, usually on Mondays, or perhaps if I don't have time, Tuesday, Wednesday. So please turn on that notification button. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, whether you're watching on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, wherever you're watching. Just make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out when I do go and do live streaming with things that I feel you guys should know about. And always, also, if I'm not live streaming, I do a lot of posts. Sky charts, I do lots of sky charts of different interesting things, usually things that you can see with nothing really more than, I guess, just the naked eye. I mean, without binoculars or telescopes. Of course, if you have binoculars and telescopes, it makes, some of the views really so out of this world, so much better, but it's not really necessary. So saying hi to more folks from Kentucky, India, that's just fantastic. Just keep it coming. I love to see where you're in. Scotland, John's in Scotland. Nice to have you on board as well. So what's making big news? Of course, I have to start talking about the comet, this amazing comet that's been in the news so much. If you follow astronomy and, astronomy kind of related night sky stuff, you're going to come across a lot of talk about Comet Nishimura. And this was discovered by a Japanese astronomer using a backyard telescope and large one, but it made the discovery just a few weeks ago. And it's brightening quickly. And so there's been a lot of buzz that it can possibly be seen being as a very bright comet. And the general public, those of you that are super casual sky watchers or maybe don't even watch the sky very much, but this caught your eye, could you see it? Well, I've been doing some investigation and just looking around, and some of my fellow stargazing journalists and things that do keep an eye on it very intently. It's just interesting to see the discussion and the photographs coming out. So let me just share with you some things that came across my desk regarding Comet Nishimura that would be relevant for us. Now, first off, it is a beautiful sight. Here is my friends from spaceweather.com that have really good submissions. Highly recommend the site, spaceweather.com. Great site for all things related to auroras, meteors, and comets as well. And here you can see this beautiful submission from Austria by veteran astrophotographer Michael Jaeger. He's very well known, taking absolutely some of the most beautiful photographs of comets for over many, many years. And what's interesting is, look at this. This is called a disconnection event. This is the head of the comet, Nishimura, and here is the tail, right? The classical romantic tail that we associate comets with. Look, it's a time-lapse kind of photography. It's a bunch of photographs taken over time that were put together. So this is really interesting because you can see this, like, bits and pieces of the tail have kind of broken off, and that is happening. This disconnection event, the disconnection of the tail into pieces, is because of solar wind. Basically, solar wind coming off of the sun. Of course, the sun, you can see here right next door is like pictures of all these, what currently the sun looks like as of September 6th. There's a lot of sunspots, and there's just tons of activity brewing on the surface of the sun, with a lot of solar flares, a lot of CMEs coming off. We've had geomagnetic storms over the weekend. I don't know if you saw any of them. I missed out here in Montreal, just couldn't see them. I wasn't properly placed for them, but there are people like in Minnesota, across the border and south of me, that did get to see it. But these are all events originating from the sun. And look, it's affecting the comet. You can see that the solar wind, those charged particle clouds, blew through that area where the comet is and disrupted the tail into bits and pieces. So it's really, just really amazing to see that. Since then, they say that Nishimura's tail has grown back, but it's not, but it might not last for long. More CMEs are heading its way. So SOHO is a satellite by NASA, and it says that SOHO has recorded at least two moving targets in the right general direction on September 5th. So that was Tuesday, September 5th. Experienced amateur astronomers who photograph Comet Nishimura in the early morning skies may be able to record their impact. So this is something interesting. So if you are an experienced amateur, this is something you can actually kind of go out and see. Look at the blast of this coronal mass ejection just coming off of the sun. This is a satellite view. The sun is blocked by a disk because it would just overwhelm the sensor, the CCD sensor. But you can see definitely that there's something going on. This blast is going out into the solar system, and it will encounter the comet. And so speculation that we'll see more events like this right here. So how good is Comet? The Comet is heading towards the closest approach on September 17th to the sun. But, of course, coming close to the sun might become brighter, but it becomes more of a challenge for us to see. So let's turn our attention to the sky of what you can expect to see. So here is a view. Let me just adjust it a bit here. Like that. So you can see that this is the view in early morning, and that's really when you need to be out to view this comet, is in the early morning. Question is, can you actually see it? Well, if you have binoculars and stronger ones, it's pretty easy. They're saying, most amateur astronomers are saying, it's not a hard target. You'll see a little fuzzy greenish glow, like a little cotton ball. That's what you'll see, and maybe hints of a tail. Definitely, if you take long exposure photographs, you begin to see, like I'm talking about 10, 20-second exposure photographs with 200 millimeter lens attached to your digital camera, you'll be able to catch a little bit of the disk. Here's the path that it's been taking over the course of the last few weeks. You see them notched in this Sky Safari Pro simulation. That's what you're kind of looking at right now, is the simulation of the sky, thanks to Sky Safari Pro, my preferred software that I like to use. And what you're seeing is what the comet is, where it is in the sky. So looking towards the east, it's currently in Leo, the Lion constellation, very low to the ground. And this is about, I would say, an hour and a half before sunrise. This is about the 45th degree latitude. I'm in Montreal, Canada. So I'm about 5-6 hours drive north of New York City, just to put that into perspective. You drive in a car, I'm just about due north, about 5-6 hours of New York City. So there's a slight difference if you're more south of me, but not too much. The point is that to see the comet, to have a chance to see it in the sky like this over the course of the next few days, you see it's heading towards where the sun is rising. Because if I go and show you as the minutes go on, this is at 5 o'clock in the, look, see how the sky is brightening? You have less than a 30-minute window before the sunlight just drowns out the comet. So it makes the timing is really important if you want to see this comet. So if I go back about an hour and a half, you see the sweet spot is where the sky is dark enough to catch the comet, right? And you've waited long enough into the morning that it's climbed high enough in the sky. So you want it to be high enough in the sky so you can see it easily, and go above any buildings and trees and stuff that you may have in your viewing spot. And that's important because, look, I'll tell you how high it is in the sky. It is in altitude less than 10 degrees, maybe, altitude. Let me see. Is that less than 10 degrees? Could that be that bad? Let me see. Rises. You see, it rises at just before 4 o'clock above the horizon. So that's you don't have much of a time. So you got to wait until it climbs a little bit higher. And about 10. Yeah. So you're not going to have it very, very high. That's for sure. The comet's going to be, maybe if you stack your hands, two hands over, maybe that's above the horizon, 2 fists at most. And that's what makes it so tricky to see. So it's not the brightness. The brightness is about magnitude 5.5, 5.9 is what people are saying. So it's just beyond naked eye view. You won't see the comet Nishimura with your eyes. You need binoculars to have any chance to see it, and it's tricky. And over the next few days, it's going to become more and more tricky. It never really was an easy target. For casual skywatchers, those of you that don't have any experience looking at the sky, I don't want to burst your balloon, but it's not an easy thing to do. You're not missing out. You probably have lots of frustration trying to track it down. If you have binoculars and you're familiar with the sky a little bit, then you have some chance of actually tracking it down. With a camera, maybe it's even better with a camera. You expose your smartphone camera, and I'd love to see some smartphone pictures. I haven't seen any really. It's usually like DSLR cameras with telephoto lenses. That's the kind of pictures I'm seeing, like this one that I was just showing you. This is this is an experienced amateur astronomer who's taking pictures like that. One thing that we could look at is, let's take a look at the comet gallery on spaceweather.com. Here you can see some other pictures of the comet, and most of them you can see are taken high resolution, close up, zoomed in images of the comet. This is taken from New York. Again, this was a series of 90-second exposures, and it's not something easy. Not something with some telephoto lenses. So, and here's another one from the Czech Republic. Beautiful shot, absolutely gorgeous. But look what this is. A whole bunch of images. They're stacked. They're image processed. So there's a lot of things going on to make these pictures look good. And it's kind of misleading, I think, for people, because most of us are going to get all excited about this and go, wow, a comet, like we're going to be... It's really in the realm of those that are more experienced to see this. So let me see, some of you guys are saying, Eddie, if it's a 5.5.6 magnitude, that means it's not visible to naked eye. Absolutely right. It is not, as it's totally a diffuse object's magnitude and not a pinpoint star magnitude. Absolutely right. Right on. You will not see this with the naked eye. Even if it was a pinpoint, and it was 5.5 magnitude, you'd have to be out in a very dark sky to even see a star, right? I mean, you're not going to see it from a typical suburb with the naked eye, a star even at 5.5, but absolutely, it's diffuse. That head of the comet, which is, basically a giant dirty snowball, and it's like gases and dust that's filling around. Remember, there's like geysers coming off of it as it's melting, as it's approaching the sun. So it's this diffuse object. It's not going to be really very easy to see, even at 5.5 magnitude, even if you had a very dark sky. So it's something, it's in the realm of binoculars and small telescopes. That is definitely for sure. Right? So AD also says, remember photographing the disconnection event in the ion tail of Comet Halley around March 16, 1986. I remember Comet Halley. I actually photographed Comet Halley from South Africa. Very, very interesting in the deserts, the Kalahari Desert. Fantastic view, but it wasn't as great as it was being advertised. I remember that. I wasn't so, I was a teenager at the time, and I just like going, wow, okay, that's not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be something more impressive. Impressive comets, the two that I've seen in my lifetime was Comet Hale-Bopp and Comet Hyakutake, 1996 and 97. Those two were impressive, especially, Comet Hyakutake and Hale-Bopp were just impressive. And in the Northern Hemisphere, we haven't seen anything of those, those magnitudes, that level of impressiveness since then. We're way past due. I mean, you guys in the Southern Hemisphere, you had Comet McNaught was like amazing. That was a while ago, but here in the northern hemisphere, we've had a super long dry spell of spectacular comets. So don't want to burst your balloon, but that's the situation with the comet. It is a cool, very cool sight, but if you can, I'm going to post the sky chart for this, so don't worry. I'll post it so you guys can see it. I might go and try, if I have clear skies and I can wake up early enough, I may try to do this, and who knows? And I'll use my smartphone and just to see if it's possible. If you have done it with smartphone, I'd love to hear and see what you've done with your smartphone. If you've captured Nishimura with a smartphone, is that even possible? Not attached to a telescope or anything, just a smartphone. I'm curious to see if that's in fact possible. So that's the situation with the comet. Now, if we go back to where the sky, I'm going to zoom out. And we'll just go an hour, let's say what the Wednesday night, what is visible. As you can see, if we look towards the west, you get to see Mars. Why am I getting this pathway? I'm going to just turn off pathways we don't want, because that's going to confuse all of us. There we go. There's Mars. So Mars is still kind of visible, but being blinded by the glare of the sunset. So this is looking west, very low. It's kind of embedded in the glow of dusk. That's where Mars is. Not really the best time to see Mars, that's for sure. And you can see as we darken the sky, there you can see star that'll be visible in the west. Very bright orange star is Arcturus, which is part of a constellation called Boötis, which is a formation of a kite. If you look at it very closely, you'll see a red outline here, or giant ice cream cone. I actually like that it looks like a giant ice cream cone in the sky. Take a look for it. I'll put a sky chart of this because I think it's a nice little thing. It's a typical summertime. So we're at the end of the summer for us here in the Northern Hemisphere. And it's a very typical kind of milestone type of constellation to see in our skies. Let me just see if I can put this setting a little bit more with more stars. There we go. Just love it when I get more stars. And you can see one of the other ones is the summer triangle. This, what we call an asterism. And I've talked about this before because it's a great guidepost in finding neighboring constellations. And I'll show you one right away. So here's the summer triangle. You've got Deneb, Vega, and Altair. Makes a gigantic pattern. You can't miss it, and it's almost overhead in the early evening. You can see I'll just make this a little bit later. Now we're around 10 o'clock at night. It's getting earlier and earlier sunset, so this is making it easier to do stargazing earlier in the evening. This is a beautiful site where you have basically called the summer triangle. You see it marked out here. I'll zoom in a little bit more. And if we use the two stars that are at almost overhead, Deneb and Vega, and you kind of draw an imaginary line off to the side until you hit another bunch of stars that form, 4 stars that form what is called the keystone, this giant kind of lopsided, kind of squished rectangle. Okay, in the sky. This represents the chest of the mythological strongman Hercules from Greek mythology. So he's kind of upside down in our skies in the Northern Hemisphere this time of the year. But it's easy to find because of these 4 stars that mark out the chest of Hercules. And you can find this by taking the star Deneb and Vega and kind of drawing an imaginary line out. And just off to the side of this imaginary line is this 4 stars that mark what's called the keystone. Now look what's inside the keystone. This is the time where you take your binoculars and your telescopes, and there's a really special treasure that's along one of the sides of this lopsided triangle, this keystone. Right along on this side, if you zoom in, and it's along the line. So if you scan with binoculars from here to here, these two stars down the side, about a third of the way down between these two stars, you'll see this fuzzy little glow. You know, it actually looks a lot like Nishimura, Comet Nishimura, through low-power binoculars. It's this little fuzzy little cotton ball that you'll see. And this is called the Great Hercules Cluster. It's categorized as a type of star cluster called a globular cluster. And it is absolutely fantastic. And check this out. So if I zoom in with binoculars, it'll look like a fuzzy little glow. And through the telescope, this is what you'll see through a small backyard telescope with high magnification. A little bit brighter in this photograph that they've superimposed in in Sky Safari, but just beautiful collection. It's a city of stars. A city of stars that's, get this, over 100,000 stars strong. All like buzzing like a beehive of stars, over 100,000 stars. And this collection, City of Stars, is 24,000 light years away. Isn't that like absolutely incredible? 24,000 light years away is the distance of the Hercules cluster, also known as Messier 13, that great list of stargazing. It's like a bucket list of must-sees in the sky put together by Charles Messier, 1700s. In the 1700s, Charles Messier, astronomer, was a comet hunter, by the way, and he made this list of beautiful deep sky objects that today are kind of like the standard for backyards sky watchers to look for, deep sky objects. And Hercules cluster is one of my absolute favorites. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can show you. I've actually taken a photograph of this through my backyard telescope. This is what it looks like through my backyard telescope. Can you see that through there? Look at that. Okay. That was actually, now I have a very large telescope. I put this, my cell phone, I have an iPhone 12 Pro, and I put it right up against the eyepiece to my 20-inch Dobsonian. And literally, that's an unfiltered, unstacked, anything. It's just a raw photograph taken through the eyepiece, hand holding my phone to the eyepiece of the telescope. And that's it. That's a real photograph of M13, taken, I think it was just like last week or a week before, just on my driveway in Montreal. That's it. And so it's incredible what you can see with a telescope, the details. That's what it looked like to my eye as I saw it, and it's just a beautiful sight. So this is the Hercules cluster. I'm going to put a sky chart for that as well. It's in the sky now. Highly recommend to view it. It's something you don't want to miss. It's just absolutely beautiful. Also, in the sky, as the night progresses, rising in the east is Saturn. Right there, you can see the planet Saturn in Aquarius, the zodiacal constellation of Aquarius. It looks like a yellow, bright star. You can't miss it. This is around 10 o'clock at night. If you're looking towards the southeast, east, right, where usually you see the sunrise, that part of the sky, look towards there at night. And it's a staple of our evenings, late evenings, this now in the next few weeks. And as the night progresses, you have in the east rising late at night. This is around midnight, but I would say around 10 o'clock at night. This is around 10. Then I'd say 11. This is the view of 11. Around midnight, Jupiter is the brightest star looking in the east. It looks like a creamy colored star. You cannot miss it. It's absolutely brilliant. It's the brightest star in that part of the sky. And it's joined by some other bright things. So this is the view Thursday night, tonight, Wednesday into Thursday, as I'm recording this, and you'll see the moon, the quarter moon, the last quarter moon right there. And you'll also see a bright star called Capella, another creamy yellow colored star. This is actually a star. It's not a planet. So, and near the moon, you'll see another star that's darker orange. And this one is called Aldebaran. Aldebaran is a beautiful red giant star. It's a dying star. It's about 67, let me see exactly the distance, 66 light years away. and it marks the red eye of bull, Taurus, the bull constellation. And so you have Capella, Jupiter, and Aldebaran, 3 orangey yellow stars forming a very wide triangular shape, and the moon is there in the mix as well, in the horns of Taurus the bull. So this is where the moon is going to be tonight. And then if we kind of move on towards later in the week, it moves on. This is Thursday night. Let me just move this higher. So if you stay up past midnight into the early morning hours, and this is like sort of, we switch to the early morning. If you're kind of an early bird, let me zoom out here. You can see there's Jupiter high up in the south if you get up early in the morning. And there's the moon right there. Watch what happens with the moon over the course of the day. So this is Friday morning. By Saturday morning, the moon pairs up with the twin stars of Gemini right there. Let me just zoom in for you. So this is basically the view early Saturday morning. Just beautiful. You'll see these white and yellow star, they're very close together with the moon, forming a beautiful triangular shape in the constellation Gemini. Those are the Gemini twin stars. And you can see like Castor, for instance, is almost 51 light years away. That's the white star. While Pollux, the one next to it, is a yellow distinct star at about 33.8 light years away, almost 34 light years away. So we're seeing back in time 34 years and almost 51 years when we're looking at Castor and Pollux. Really incredible. And of course, you won't be able to miss this. Venus is an early morning object as well, before looking again towards the east, right, where the sun will rise. And you want to catch this about maybe an hour. This is the view about an hour before your local sunrise. So it's a beautiful sight. I'm going to put a sky chart of that as well so you won't miss. So make sure you hit that notification button, subscribe to my channel, because you'll get notified when I post these sky charts so you don't miss out on that. And it just gives you a convenient reminder. We're all busy. We don't have time to, even if you've saved these things, and you won't remember probably looking for it. But if I send you a notification and you get dinged, then you'll have time to actually go out and, okay, I'm going to get up and look at this, or I'll just go outside now and see it. So just hit that notification button. It makes it a lot easier for you to get notified. So that's something to view. Again, this is Saturday morning. If we look at Sunday morning, the moon is now going to be underneath the pair of stars. Look at that. Do you see that? I'm going to zoom in a little bit. There you go. There's Venus. There's Cancer, the crab in the middle. Venus is in the zodiacal constellation of Cancer, the crab. And then right above it, above Venus, will be the moon, the crescent moon, and then Castor and Pollux, the Gemini twin stars. Look, it's almost like a beautiful lineup, isn't it? Look at that. I didn't even notice that before. I'm just looking at it now and going, holy cow, that's a beautiful lineup. So you don't want to miss that. This is Sunday morning. Okay, folks, Sunday morning. This is September 10th. On September 10th, Sunday morning, this is the lineup. You don't want to miss that. And then by Monday morning next week, on the 11th of September, the moon is again in Cancer, the crab, just above Venus. Just another beautiful sight. Guys, that's a lot of stuff in the sky. There is no doubt about it. There's so many things happening. You don't want to miss out. Now, if you like astronomy, I invite you to check out my book for more information. This is where I've basically packed all my interesting kind of tidbits of information I've gained about the night sky, learned about the night sky for many decades. It's called Backyard Guide to the Night Sky. It's a bestseller on Amazon. You can find it at your better bookstores as well. It's by National Geographic, so you know it's a quality book. I had access to amazing map makers at National Geographic. Also out is my big heavy-duty book, Stargazer's Atlas. I was a co-author on this, and I basically was in charge of putting together the heart of the atlas, which is all the 88 constellations. Everything that's visible in the night sky from anywhere in the world is in here, including hundreds and hundreds of deep sky objects, treasures like galaxies, star clusters, nebula, all kinds of neat stuff that you can see with binoculars, naked eye, telescope, beginner, intermediate, even some advanced objects, but just a lot of fun to do. It's a heavy book, 6.5 pounds. It's not the one that you want to take in your backpack. This is the one you want to take in your backpack. That's for sure. It's a lot lighter. It's softcover. And I'm selling both of these books on my website. I'll sign and dedicate it personally to you and ship it wherever you are around the world. My pleasure. You can find that information on my website, thenightskyguy.com. I'll put a link to that so you can, in the comments below. Whew, that's a lot of stuff. So I hope I get some pictures from you guys about Comet Nishimura. Try to use your smartphones to see if you can capture it. It's an early morning thing. Remember, before sunrise, you want to be about an hour and a half before. If not, don't worry. It's a hard object. It's not that easy. But there are a lot of other things we covered today that is easy to see with the naked eye. Just some things you can step outside of your front door, look out through your bedroom window if that's what you have available. There's something for everyone. And I hope I've shared some interesting things. And I hope you found value in this video. If you have, please do hit that subscribe button. It means so much to me. It allows me to bring this kind of information to you directly every week for free. And it just means a lot, your support, by increasing the number of stargazing friends I have. The more we can get people to be out under the stars. It's an amazing hobby, easy to do. Friends, family, or by yourself, it's just something, it's like a Zen-like activity to me, really. And I love to share that with you guys as usual. So if you find value, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, love it. Whew. Until the next video, I hope you stay safe and healthy, and I wish all of you, you know what, clear skies. Bye-bye.